All right. Good evening, everyone. As today is Martin Luther King Day, it seems apt to begin tonight's program with a discussion of race and national identity in these United States. The most important political questions in American history have always centered around race, identity, and what it means to be a member of the American nation. A national identity based on legal documents, consumerism, and mass media, what various conservatives and civic nationalists have put forward as their answer in the age of multiculturalism, is no identity at all. A nation is a people sharing traditions, culture, history, and yes, sharing blood. There have, of course, been many nations in this country, and not just the Anglo-Saxon Protestant one that has defined our language and political system and ethnic core. Among Europeans, there is a nation of proud Southerners and a nation of Yankees. There are Germans and Poles, WASP and Irish, Italians and Dutch. But today, we are all united, and that we have all become unwelcome strangers in the land of our fathers. We are forced to celebrate idols of our dispossession, our weakness, and even our oppression. White men are not simply being dispossessed. We are being dehumanized, and to borrow a phrase from George Orwell, unpersoned. We are openly discriminated against in corporations, churches, civic institutions, and academia. We are threatened with violence and harassment. All it takes is a minor infraction against the anti-white order, a mere smirk, if you will, for us to be slandered, doxxed, fired, arrested, or even physically assaulted. And the political mainstream will cheer it on. White Americans, their advocates, are the group most oppressed by the system. The media dehumanizes us and incites violence against us. The banks, at the behest of civil rights organizations, locks us out of the financial system. We don't have a right to speak, and increasingly, we don't have a right to be. Even the slightest indication that you support white people and their right to exist is justification for leftists in the media and in the anti-white activist groups to attempt to destroy you. And let's be frank, everyone knows it's going on. We're just the ones willing to talk about it. It is time for a new civil rights movement in this country. We need a movement that moralizes a demoralized people, that humanizes an identity that is increasingly depicted as, at best, a roadblock on progress, and at worst, as monstrous. Conservatives and civic nationalists are happy to celebrate all the hollow victories of the Trump presidency. But much like him, they will not lift a finger to protect the rights of the people who put Trump in the White House. They will endlessly pretend that we are winning when nothing further from the truth, when the truth is nothing further from that. The fact is we're losing, and we have been for some time. Just because President Trump is largely indistinguishable from President Jeb or Heb does not mean that we must abandon the greater cause which at one point Trump seemed to represent. Rather, it shows how important it is that we engage in such a struggle and not pin our hopes on some populist or reality show star or family values conservative who claims to be representing it, but who really just wants to capitalize on it. The struggle is ultimately about whether white people have a right to speak and white people have a right to be in the United States or not, whether we are legitimate or not. The legacy of MLK is no question that of the dispossession of the American majority. But I do think that we can learn from it and find something maybe redeemable in it. And no, I'm not referring to the various conservatives who like to trot out MLK talking points, which they level against Black Lives Matter and so on for not judging people by the content of their character. I'm talking about that heroic core to the civil rights struggle, to Martin Luther King, his willingness to risk everything, including his life, his willingness to oppose the system, the war machine, and to stand for something that was at many points in American history unthinkable, certainly indefensible. We need to learn from MLK, and we need to create a civil rights movement, but one that is for us.